here today because a second grade teacher thought it was appropriate to teach my child about pronouns. I was taught that there were only 2 pronouns, but thanks to the woke left, there are now 100 pronouns.
All right, so that was a comedian, Walter Masterson, who was trolling a school board meeting in Connecticut, Long Island, not to be confused with Connecticut, but there, a teacher was forced to remove a pride flag from the classroom, and we're gonna get more into that video of him trolling in a second. But this is a disturbing trend that is happening where school boards across the country are being overtaken by conservative PACs. They've really set their sights on school board elections, which is an effective strategy if what you're interested in is indoctrinating children and having influence over their curriculums. Their objectives are pretty simple. Right-leaning groups are spending millions on candidates who promise to scale back teachings on race and sexuality, remove offending books from libraries, and nix plans for gender-neutral bathrooms or transgender inclusive sports teams. So at the center of this conservative effort is the 1776 Project, which is a direct response to the New York Times 1619 Project, where they're providing curriculum for anyone to use to teach people about slavery. So they're not very interested in teaching accurate history there. And last fall and spring, 1776 Project PAC succeeded in elevating conservative majorities to office in dozens of school districts across the United States, propelling candidates who have gone on to fire superintendents and enact sweeping Bill of Rights for parents. And they are continuing on their war path. In the wake of recent victories in Texas and Pennsylvania, and having spent $2 million between April of 2021 and this past August, the group is campaigning for dozens of candidates this fall. It's supporting candidates in Maryland's Frederick and Carroll counties, in Bentonville, Arkansas, and 20 candidates across southern Michigan. Unfortunately, this is really not just happening in conservative areas. It's happening in very liberal areas as well, like Philly and Minneapolis. Another one of these conservative think tanks is the American Principles Project. They put a combined $25,000 behind 4 candidates for the Polk County Board in Florida. The group's fundraising average surged from under $50,000 the year before the pandemic to about $2 million now. So these conservative PACs see themselves as a response to teachers' unions who they feel have too much influence over the curriculum for their students. In Maryland's Frederick County, the 1776 group is backing 3 school board candidates against 4 endorsed by education unions. The conservatives are running as Education Not Indoctrination slate, or they're running as the Education Not Indoctrination slate, with a digital ad saying children are being held captive by schools. The ad shows a picture of stacked books bearing the words equity, grooming, indoctrination, and critical race theory. Now, before we get back to what went down in Long Island with that flag in the classroom, what are your thoughts on this?
So this group called Patriot Mobile spent $400,000 in a school board in North Texas. Do you have any idea how much $400,000 is in a school board race? That's like spending
the entire budget of every kid.
Yeah. By the way, our kids don't even have books and pencils and stuff. Imagine if you gave the $400,000 to the school, how much better the education would be, right? But spending $400,000 on those tiny little elections is like the equivalent of spending like $1 trillion on a national election. It's just blasting everybody in the race. So, like, the conservatives have run out of seats to buy, right? The Republicans have bought so many seats at the national level. They get so much corporate money. They get so much money from everywhere, right? They bought the national guys, then they moved to the state guys, and they bought so many state guys. They took over the states, they gerrymandered them, they got it on lockdown. They're like, they run out of things to buy. They're like, okay, which politician should we buy next? I don't know, let's go to random school boards. Now, and I say I don't know jokingly because why are they doing it? I know why they're doing it. Because it's indoctrination. It's the most ironic thing in the world. What the schools are teaching now is actually history and math and science. And these guys don't like that. They're like, no, I don't. You're teaching that America had racism? Nope, I don't want it. Spend $400,000, buy the entire school board, And then we'll teach them that there was no racism in America. Slavery, what name so, right? We'll just make it up. We'll replace their stupid facts with propaganda. And look, right-wingers love that. They don't want the truth. They don't want it. So like they theoretically don't like corruption. And I actually give the right-wing voters credit all the time. One of the reasons they liked Trump in 2016 was he kept saying drain the swamp, right? And they really do want the swamp drained, but when you tell them, yeah, but can we just do corruption to buy the entire school board so we can make you feel better about your ancestors' past? They're like, oh yeah. I didn't know you meant that. Yeah, then go ahead and do the corruption. And just in case, just like I want to explain in case you're new to American politics, how do they quote unquote buy the board? The $400,000 buys you ads that goes to everybody in that area that votes 12 times over. The other side never gets to, and then they lie in the ads. Like I remember, now this is a different race, but when Nina Turner was running, she's like the biggest advocate for $15 minimum wage, right? They bought ads saying she was against $15 minimum wage. They just lied. They took her popular position and said the exact opposite. So now people, they're not sitting there neck deep in politics. They get a thing and goes, oh, they're teaching your kids, they're gonna switch your kid's gender. Oh, sick, and they panic and they go, okay, I'm gonna vote for you, right? And they put these monsters in. So that's what's happening now all across the country.
I gotta give it to the evil genius that is the GOP, because they're so diabolical and yet so clever. Like they were like, I know, to keep them dumb, start them young. Like that was they just decided like, how young? Like diapers. We're gonna start like when they're just learning to read and write. Yeah, keep them dumb starting then. We're gonna buy the schools, teach them so they can never not be dumb, and then just continue their dumb journey till they grow up and are old enough to vote for us.
But Helen, what you're saying is actually kind of literal, because I wrote about this in my book, justicescomingbook.com, if you want to pre-order. It's the Lewis Powell memo in 1971. He was a lawyer for the Chamber of Commerce. One of his ideas was taking over the Supreme Court. Oops, so they could legalize money in politics. Oops. But another idea was go take over education. And he said, by the way, you should go do a lot of speakers on college campuses as part of the takeover of education. And if they don't let you do corporate propaganda in essence, then say that they're against freedom. Wow. They planned that back in 1971.
That's how clever they are. They're so diabolical. They were planning this in 1971 and now it's all coming to fruition. Oh, why are they so evil and genius?
Powell indeed, yeah, that's true.
Really quick, let's get into what this guy was trolling in the last bit of his trolling. So the teacher is an out member of the LGBT community, was first asked to take her Progress Pride flag down from her classroom in September. The classroom is also used for Gay Straight Alliance Club meetings. When the teacher did not take the flag down, she was called into the principal's office and eventually took them down on October 6th. So let's look at the flag that she had up. This is the Progress Pride flag. It's a variation of the older flag with the addition of black and brown representation for people of color, and the pink, light blue, and white represent trans, gender non-binary, intersex, and those across the gender spectrum. And this led to protests at the school, which is super shocking. So let's actually watch the rest of this comedian's footage at that school board meeting.
Patriot, I love freedom of speech. Who loves freedom of speech? You know, I love freedom of speech, except when it comes to pride flags in schools, teaching history. There's a whole list of books I want to ban from the school library. I want to ban kneeling at football games. The point is we need to protect our children, okay? Which is why we need more security in our schools. We need cops patrolling the hallway. We should also hire cops as teachers. And the students, they should also be cops, like in 21 Jump Street. Who saw that? Yeah. We need to, get back to the fundamentals. We need to take down the pride flag, put the American flag back up, and we need to force every child to salute it in the morning, right? That makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
This reminds me of the reaction to Stephen Colbert. When there were so many people who identified as conservative, they watched Stephen Colbert, they were like, this is so funny, he's making fun of leftists. Leftists watched Colbert and said, this is great, he's making fun of conservatives, brilliant satire. I don't think all of those applause or folks applauding understood that was comedy.
Yes, it's true, because you could tell by watching like who was clapping for him in the audience. There were some people who were like, ha ha ha, I get it, and some people were like, yeah.
Freedom, ban the books. Freedom, ban the books. Freedom, ban the books.
So true. By the way, I have performed stand-up comedy in Long Island, and I can attest, no offense, Long Island, but not y'all are not all the brightest bulb in Long Island. I'm just gonna put that out there and just say, I did comedy in Long Island and making fun of like Asian stereotypes and stuff. And there were definitely members of the audience in Long Island who were like, I get it. And some people were like, yeah, she's one of us. She's making fun of her own people.
Jesus, man. By the way, it ain't Mississippi, it ain't Florida. That's Long Island, man. That's in New York.
It's like 20 minutes outside of New York City.
Walter Masterson does a great job with that. He's been on the show before, and I love the way that he punked him. And you're right, I hadn't thought of the Colbert thing. And I remember that at some point, people said when he was doing that fake Bill O'Reilly character on his Comedy Central show, that right-wingers were believing that he was actually right-wing. And I was like, no, that's no way. That's too much, guys. You're being unfair to the right wing. Now that I've seen all the Trump stuff, oh my God, it was true. They really believed he was trying to do like an O'Reilly-like show. Oh my God. God help us all.
This is to keep them young, to keep them dumb. Start young.
The new GOP slogan. By the way, they'll think it's real. They'll be like, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's what we should do. And they'll put it up all over. Take the pride flag down. Put Helen's flag up. She doesn't even like the Asians. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.